Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
In this lesson, I will briefly discuss the relationship between different sets of parameters. Now, given one set of parameters, you can find all the others also. Okay. All it entails is rearranging of the two equations. Okay. Because for instance, you would write for the y parameter equations, you would write currents as functions of voltages. Okay. Now, if you rearrange the same thing so that you have voltages as functions of the currents I1 and I2, you get the Z parameter set. Okay. Instead, if you have I2 and V1 as a function of I1 and V2, you get the H parameter set and so on. So, it is just a matter of manipulating the equations. Now, what I wanted to show here is in this table, I have listed all of the parameter definitions the way we measure them. That is, we either open circuit or short circuit some port and take the ratio of voltage to current or current to voltage or ratio of voltages or currents as appropriate. Okay. What I want to highlight is that no two of these are the same. That is, you may be measuring the same quantities, but they will be under different conditions. For instance, first of all, let us look at Y11. We are taking the ratio I1 by V1, whereas for Z11 we are taking V1 by I1. Okay. But Y11 is measured with port 2 short circuited, Z11 is measured with port 2 open circuited. So, please do not make the mistake of confusing Z11 with 1 by Y11. Okay. The same thing goes for Z22 and Y22 as well. Also, if you look at the expressions, Y1 is I1 by V1 and G11 is also I1 by V1. But again, they are measured under different conditions. Y11 is with port 2 short circuited and G11 is with port 2 open circuited. So, Y11 is not equal to G11. Okay, because although they are ratios of the same quantities, they are measured under different conditions. So, please do not make elementary mistakes like this while converting from one parameter set to another or things like that. What is true is that Y1 is I1 by V1 with V2 equal to 0, that is port 2 short circuited. H11 is V1 by I1 with V2 equal to 0, also with port 2 short circuited. It is a different ratio though. So, we can clearly say that Y11 is 1 by H11. Okay. Similarly, both Z11 and G11 are measured with port 2 open circuited. So, Z11 is 1 by G11. Okay. So, these kind of relationships you can build up, and you can also build up relationships for other parameters, but especially important not to make this type of mistake. Now, the other relationship between the entire sets you already know. Okay. The Z parameter is basically the inverse of the Y parameter, or Y is the inverse of Z matrix. Similarly, H is the inverse of G matrix, or G is the inverse of H matrix. Okay. Now, of course, if some of these matrices are not invertible, then you cannot invert it and find finite valued parameters. Okay. For instance, if H matrix is not invertible, you can't have finite G parameters for that particular circuit. Okay. So, that means that that circuit cannot be meaningfully represented by G parameters. Okay. But if they are invertible, you can use any of the 4 parameter sets for describing the circuit. Okay.